Wow, how zany was that?
How dare you?
Uh, Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the Half-Life episode.
Half-Life is a video game franchise created solely by Gabe Newell. He did it all himself. He wrote the code, he did the graphics, he did all the art design, he wrote the story. He did all of it on his own.
What a talented man.
He really is. Like, he's a man of infinite talents. Is he a billionaire again? Because I remember distinctly he was a billionaire, but then he donated so much of his wealth away that he wasn't a billionaire. So I don't know if he reclaimed that.
I mean, Valve alone probably adds to his net worth.
Well, definitely. And Valve is so strange because they make so much money and they're a game publisher. Well, they were originally, now they're not really. And because, they literally don't publish games anymore. They just don't. CS went, a year without a single update, and it still made probably tens of millions off of cases.
So, Valve was founded by a couple of guys, Gabe Newell and Mike Harrington. They worked at Microsoft. They worked on Windows. You might have heard of that.
I hope so.
That obscure OS. I know everyone out there is a Linux Chad, but...
How many dude, drop a fat comment if you're a Linux Chad. There's gotta be about 7 people left who casually run Linux.
Or you could be one of those people that uses a Mac. We don't judge here.
Yeah, we could, but we don't.
So they founded Valve, I think, in 96, which is coincidentally when we were both born.
Yeah. Shout out to my cuspers who are between millennial and Gen Z and who don't fit anywhere.
My identity is very confused, much like everyone else's, I think.
Yes, absolutely.
So they started developing Half-Life. It was supposed to come out in 97, but it sucked. So they did this novel concept where they actually made the game good. And then they released that in 98.
And the world was nary the same since. But really, that it really is that much. Because the thing is, I wasn't there for the first-hand buzz of Half-Life. I was for 2. I mean, I was still a child, but I remember some of it, so I just don't know if, was the response to Half-Life 1 coming out nearly as, grandiose as 2, just because 2 was so... breakthrough.
Well, Half-Life 1 was also a breakthrough. It was a giant hit. It was a phenomenon.
Okay, I thought that it was, but I didn't know for sure if 1 was. I mean, for the time, how in-depth the stuff got in that game is absolutely incredible. The freaking 90s, and it looks like that and plays like that.
And you gotta, remember, Super Mario 64 came out 2 years before this.
It's kind of insane.
Then Half-Life is just this giant story.
Yeah, a giant, fully fleshed out 3D interactive story that spans so much, use so many different weapons and tactics, go so many different places.
It was a very big breakthrough, actually. Mostly due to the way it told its story. It was not a cutscene.
Yeah, that's rad.
There wasn't any breaks in the gameplay. It was just you start the game, it's one continuous gameplay loop. You don't ever leave Gordon Freeman's point of view the entire time you play it.
It flows. It flows so well.
So the story was told through scripted sequences, not through cutscenes.
Definitely revolutionary.
That's why it was such a big deal. That's why everyone cares about Half-Life 1, other than the fact it's also a really fun game.
Yeah, well, because I think for 2, more of its reputation is based on, the whole package, because obviously the story's a big part of it, but just, how great it plays and how much variety they keep introducing. And probably the locations for 2 as well. Places like Ravenholm stick with you.
The story of Half-Life is pretty simple, though. You play as a scientist named Gordon Freeman at the Black Mesa Research Facility, and you're doing science until it goes wrong, and aliens start invading. And so the military comes and covers it up by killing literally everyone. And after fighting off alien invaders, you become the alien invader by going to the alien's home planet and stopping the invasion. So Half-Life had a couple of expansion packs. First was Opposing Force, where you play as one of the military guys named Adrian Shepard.
Yeah. Opposing Force to Blue Shift, rad.
Yeah, there's Blue Shift, where you played as Barney, the security guard. Like actual Barney.
Yeah. You got to play as the big purple dinosaur, but now he breathed fire. It was sick.
Exactly. And then there was the PlayStation 2 exclusive expansion called Decay, where you played as like the only female scientists in Black Mesa. You get to play as them.
Yeah, I never played Decay because of it being like the PS2 exclusive and it being weird. I don't even think I knew it existed at the time.
Well, there's like a PC mod that you could like play it.
Yeah, I'm sure now. But yeah, I should go back and play it.
Although I think that's like the weirdest expansion because yeah, it's co-op and I don't think it's a one continuous gameplay loop. I think it's like sectioned off.
Yeah, that's very strange. I wonder why that came to be.
Maybe it's because like your friend is like, I have to go now, so you're like, well, we can do the next mission later. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It's just odd for Half-Life to have that, but I guess they were trying different stuff.
Since Half-Life 1 was such a big hit, people are like, we need Half-Life 2. Where is Half-Life 2? I want Half-Life 2.
That'll become a theme here, as you'll see.
Give me Half-Life 2. And Half-Life 2 took 6 years to develop.
Which, considering now, is not that long.
Yes, it was very short in comparison to what we've had to deal with. But we'll get to that.
Infinity, technically, between 2 and 3. Cause...
We'll get to that soon. Unlike Valve.
Hey, Valve time. Ha, funny 2006 joke.
It's still funny because of Valve time. The funniness is in Valve time.
It's intrinsically funny, and it'll never stop being funny.
So the development of Half-Life 2 is very interesting. For fun, I used to like just read the Half-Life wiki and just look at what was cut and what was changed and like the original ideas.
I love looking at cut content for games. It's super interesting to see what falls off along the way.
Because they had a release date in mind. It was like in September of 2003 is when they wanted to release Half-Life 2. Except it was not finished whatsoever on that date. and they claimed, oh yeah, the game's still coming, you guys. Don't worry, on this date, we'll have it ready. And they kept saying that until that date had passed. So,
just like Valve is known for by this point.
So gamers were like, I'm mad at this. And then there was just like this German kid who hacked into Valve servers and leaked the entire unfinished game up to that point.
Shout out to him.
Because I think Gabe's email password was just like Gabe N. So that's how secure their security was.
Just absolutely phenomenal stuff from Gabe.
So everyone saw this like unfinished game and they're like, what the hell, Valve? This isn't finished?
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
Of course, some were like, oh, damn, they got hacked. Eventually, the next year in 2004, Half-Life 2 comes out. It's another hit game. It's another breakthrough. Because this time they had physics.
They did. And fuck, are those physics still so good till today.
And that's when we got, like, Gmod.
Yes. One of the most played games in the world that would just, like... infinite fun and creativity.
Because there's this guy called Gary. He's like, these physics, they're pretty interesting. What if I did something with this? So what Gmod is, you can like use all the props in Half-Life 2. You can like control them with the fizz gun. You can pose them.
Yes. Extremely revolutionary.
There's a lot of add-ons too, and you can like use all the Source Engine games. So you can like make comics and machinimas and you can just like build stuff. And there's like other game modes too, but I'm just describing Sandbox.
I mean, yeah, you gotta think like Source Filmmaker alone, how much of an impact that made. And that's just the engine. Like, that's just filming using Source.
Yeah, think of all that great porn that we would have lost without Source
Yeah,
Filmmaker.
yeah. If Source Filmmaker was never invented, then the world would be a much worse place because there'd be a lot more aggression out there in the world.
I bet they like wanted Source Filmmaker to be like an actual filmmaking tool,
Oh, I'm sure
but
just like anytime anything's like used ubiquitously for porn, it's always like there was a plan before this, but that wasn't related to porn. But now it's here.
so Half-Life 2 had kind of a different story than Half-Life 1. Half-Life 1 was in the Black Mesa Research Facility in New Mexico. Half-Life 2 was like in Eastern Europe, and now there's like an oppressive government called the Combine.
Very cool. Very cool change of tone. That's such a ballsy move. Thinking about that now, like, what if a sequel to a really smash hit game came out and the setting was completely changed and the gameplay was, like, changed that drastically? Like, I know there was a 6-year gap in development, but for something to be that different, I feel like that's just a risk that people aren't going to take nowadays.
Well, in opposing force, Black Mesa got nuked, so can't go back there.
Nope. Interesting that they made that call in the Barney game.
Oh, that's
Oh
the
no, Blue Shift, yeah, and that's right, I'm an idiot. My apologies. Which one did Gearbox help make? Did they make Opposing Shift?
opposing shift. They made all of them.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yes.
Because I thought they only did Opposing Force, because that's kind of like military games were their forte for a while, because Duke Nukem and Aliens, Colonial Marines, which we really don't need to talk about. But I love Gearbox because Borderlands. Yeah, that's where they got their start, was Half-Life. And then it took them like 7 decades, and now they're finally their own company. And now they're slowly becoming not their own company and just publishing other people's games. The vicious cycle continues.
There's some people that are like, opposing force and blue shift aren't canon. And I'm like, why not?
Yeah, I mean, pretty major things happen in them. So, I definitely like to believe the intention was for them to be canon, or at least supplementary canon.
I mean, they made this game and sold it in stores like officially. So
Yeah.
how isn't this canon?
It's not often that that a company would make a game specifically that's not canon to the rest of the game's story.
After Half-Life 2 came out, people are like, well, where's Half-Life 3 at? I need this story to continue, because Half-Life 2 kind of ends on a cliffhanger, because you go up to the like Combine's fortress called the Citadel, then you blow it up, and then there's this character called the G-Man, who's this like real mysterious guy that no one actually knows what his deal is. He just like stops time, and he's like, Mr. Freeman.
You think no one knows what his deal is? I think you should watch the game theory on who the G-Man is.
I'll have to save that for later. But like, there's this character called G-Man who's basically your like boss who oversees you. Except he's like
Kind of, but yet he's like just a dude in a suit, but he's very obviously a paranormal being who could like transport through time and space.
And I have my own G-Man theory, but I think I'll save that for later.
I think everybody does. Well, you could save it for after Half-Life Alyx, because he's definitely going to be in it. He was in the trailer.
So people are like, where's the next Half-Life game, Valve? So Valve was like, well, Half-Life 2 took 6 years to make, and it was this like whole mess of developing. So they're like, okay, there's this new concept called episodic gaming, where you just like make a chunk of a game, release it, then make the next chunk, and so on and so forth. So they're like, we're going to make 3 Half-Life 2 episodes that continue the story after Half-Life 2. We'll have episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3, and this whole trilogy of episodes will be completed by December of 2007.
That's so fucking funny to go back in here. They had delusions of grandeur.
So we got episode 1, which is about escaping the city, because the Citadel, since it blew up, is now very unstable, and it's gonna blow up again, but this time like with the force of a nuke, kind of.
Which
so
is
they
bad.
they got to get out of the city. And some aliens called the Vortigaunts like take Gordon away from the G-Man. And they also rescue Alyx. Very mysterious. Episode 2 is about going to this big science place called White Forest. This like abandoned missile silo from the Cold War has been like taken over by scientists. So your goal is to go there, shut down the super portal that has been created by the explosion of the Citadel. Because the Combine want to use this super portal that has resulted to have another invasion force and reclaim Earth. Because Earth was taken over in something called the 7-Hour War, where this universal union called the Combine came, took over Earth, and now is draining it of its resources. But
classic.
The invasion force like left Earth because you don't need that. Just have some units stationed there just to keep order. The Combine want to bring back that invasion force and secure Earth again. So your goal is to get a rocket from White Forest, blast that into the super portal with like some technology and close that super portal. So that's episode 2.
And now is where it gets tricky.
Episode 3 was about going to this ship called the Borealis, which was a ship made by Aperture Science, which is the company in Portal. Apparently there's some sort of technology on this ship that if the Combine got their hands on, would be very bad. So your goal is to get there first. And, well, we don't actually know what else would happen. Well, actually we do. But that's because, I think 2 years ago, the writer for the game, Mark Laidlaw, leaked.
Yeah, he did.
What the actual story would be about.
Yeah, he leaked, I think just about everything he had for the story that was completed before it was officially scrapped.
Episode 1 was in 2006, episode 2 was in 2007, and episode 3...
Never. Episode 3 isn't.
It just doesn't exist.
It just doesn't exist. But after 13 years of silence, we do have something, finally.
Yes. Half-Life Alyx.
Yes.
Which is, this podcast is coming out the day before Half-Life Alyx releases. So, have fun with that tomorrow, I guess.
Yes, everybody who is buying it. I am a pleb, and I do not own VR, but I'll be getting to see it at Brad's house, because Brad will have it. Brad has VR.
I bought an Oculus Rift a couple years ago because I wanted to play Half-Life in VR, and this was before Half-Life Alyx. I wanted to just play the normal games in VR, and I've attempted that with Half-Life 1, but I played it with a headache, and it just made me sick.
That's not good. Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny because the geometry is just all fucked up when you actually look at it. It's things that should be below your eyesight or just above you, the health stations and charger.
Especially depending on the height that your thing is calibrated at.
Doors are gigantic. The scale of everything is just so fucked up when you actually try to look at it for real.
I haven't got to play a big adventure game in VR. I got to play the thing I played most in VR is Super Hot, which is pretty classic VR game, obviously.
The HUD just doesn't work in VR because it's just this floating text at the bottom of your eyesight. So
yeah,
it didn't work out too well.
I'm very excited to see what Valve does with Half-Life Alyx, just because, how long has it been since they published their last new game? Wasn't it Dota 2?
It might have been CSGO. I think those two games came out at the same time in
CSGO is 15 years old. So
that might be CS Source. CSGO is from 2013.
Yeah, I'm an idiot, yeah. So, there was CS first, and then CS Source.
No, we're forgetting about Artifact.
What the fuck is that? I do not know what that is.
It's a card game based off Dota 2 that no one liked.
That explains it. Did Valve actually made it?
Yes.
Oh, so that's definitely the last thing that they made.
I think Gabe had a PowerPoint presentation where he's this game will be the Half-Life 2 of card games.
I don't think so. Hold on, I'm gonna look up CS because I think it's 20 years of CS in total. Because I know there was CS Source, and I know there's Mission Zero, but that's not like with everything else.
It's a fake Counter-Strike game. It's
I
not
mean, yeah, pretty
canon.
much. I don't think like Counter-Strike is canon. It's like it's weird with multi. Oh no, yeah, CS:GO was released in 2012, but Counter-Strike was released in 2000. Or is it 99? Yeah, 99. It was a oh, that's what it was. CS started as a Half-Life mod in 99 and then it got like an official separate release in 2000.
Yeah, Valve is actually like made up of a bunch of like modders. Like,
Yeah, that's like most of their team. Well, cuz fucking like everything they make is modded from Half-Life.
because yeah, you had Half-Life, and then they hired the Counter-Strike team, which Counter-Strike was a Half-Life mod. Team Fortress was a Quake mod, but then they made it into Team Fortress Classic.
Yes.
I think like Left 4 Dead was made by Turtle Rock Studios.
I'm honestly not going to challenge you on that. I don't want to. I don't know. I trust your word.
Portal
But
was
that's-
like some students that they hired.
Yeah, Portal was like 3 fucking students from a college that didn't get paid to make it, and it's a fucking masterpiece. Portal, I mean, yeah, it's Valve is such a unique case with all of those things. Like, there's no wonder why everything they made was so special.
Because I think they just like hired like already proven products, like the makers of those mods. Because those mods were hits, so they're like, well,
They're smart.
why don't you come work for us?
Yeah, like the people who made Portal, they made a very similar game, but it was just a concept kind of game in college, and then Valve was like, come on over. Yeah, they're very smart. They hired based off of results instead of potential, which is argued upon a lot.
And then they just stopped making games for some reason.
I mean, probably because if you could rake in billions of dollars not making games, it sounds pretty good. Because then instead they can focus their entire workforce on just like trying to maintain Steam and hardware manufacturing. Considering that's probably the biggest thing they're focused on right now is pushing units of the Valve Index.
But they can't sell it right now because of the coronavirus.
Yeah. Most people can't sell, a lot of people can't sell a lot of things because of the coronavirus.
Imagine how dated this episode will be in like a couple years.
I mean, well, unless if it kills us all, then it will be extremely.
Hey everyone from the future, remember the coronavirus?
Remember the
when
thing
that was a thing?
extincted humanity?
Well, us in the past have to deal with this right now.
Yeah,
So-
and we're not taking it nearly as seriously as we could because we make jokes about it on the internet.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I've gotten like 5 emails from my college and like my local representative about fucking coronavirus.
Oh, I got an email from our representative too.
Yeah, I know some people with some very malinformed opinions about the coronavirus.
All right,
Like-
here's my pro tip for avoiding the coronavirus. It's just be an antisocial nerd and just stay in your house all day. You literally can't get it. 'Cause
Yeah, never leave your house and wash your hands.
So basically, everyone already listening to this podcast is following those instructions.
I hope. Wash your fucking hands. Better be. I'm gonna be pissed.
And if you're Dan Schneider, wash your feet, okay?
If you're Dan Schneider, turn yourself in. No, it's a joke. There's never been anything proven.
But
Just
seriously, Dan.
Dan, you gotta know that fishing for feet pictures from underage girls on the internet is not a good look, my guy. Technically not illegal, but maybe it should be.
Dan, you have to keep your feet fetish under control, okay? I know that you just want to plaster it into your, like, internationally shown TV shows.
Yeah,
But you just have to calm down with that sort of thing.
like just a little bit. Like you can have it all you want, like 20 hours a day, but just don't put it into the creative works that you make. Why is this so hard, Dan?
Why is this hard indeed?
I don't get it. Dan the Man Schneider.
Dan getting the Van
Yeah,
Schneider.
Dan the Man getting the Van Schneider. I cannot wait till we get a cease and desist. I think that's just like the mark of success. I know somebody on Twitter with 500 followers who got a cease and desist. And it's like companies now are just getting so aggressive over it. It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, since I submitted this podcast like Apple and Google and whoever else, like I think they had to listen to it. So
Very interesting. Somebody was forced to listen to this and approved it on all accounts.
they should be fired.
Yeah, probably. I don't think this should be allowed anywhere. Just because of, like, quality. Not because of content. We're fine on content. Because Brad cuts out all the N-words. So, there's none of that in there to
some
get it
might
banned.
slip in, but
The 8 that we've had, the first 4 episodes slipped in. But there was a lot more that were cut out, believe it or not, so.
now I'd like to switch back to Half-Life and talk about my experiences with Half-Life. So I got into Half-Life because of Cloud8745. He played Half-Life 2, and I was like, ooh, this game's really cool.
Likewise.
And this was like in 2009, I believe. So we're not like first generation Half-Life fans.
Yeah,
We're
I knew when it came out originally, but we've never had a computer be able to play it. So the first time I played it was in 2006 with the Orange Box.
I saw like Gmod clips
No, that was
first.
probably 07. That was probably 07.
I saw Gmod clips before like seeing actual Half-Life, and I'm like, wow, this is the greatest graphics I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, back then, hey, it was breakthrough.
So I played them on like my laptop, which surprisingly random. It was like $300 that my mom gave me for Christmas. Santa gave me for Christmas.
That's epic.
And I remember you had a laptop too that didn't have a fan.
Yes, it was super good. It would just shut off if I tried to put too many things on it at the same time.
I have to question the designers for that laptop. Like, what was your plan there?
I think the plan was for it to not work, so people wasted money.
Maybe it was just like for like an office worker to use instead of like a gamer.
Yeah, I get. Maybe it was like a proto Chromebook where like it was only for the internet and maybe Word.
Because I remember we used to play like Gmod together, and you'd use that laptop.
Yep, I sure tried. I tried to use it, and then I also used my family computer, which was running Windows XP like well into like 2008.
I mean, people ran Windows XP till it was like discontinued, and I'm sure there's people that are running it right now.
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, hey, more respect to you. XPers for life. Any XPers in the comments?
I mean, I have my this Windows XP computer that I bought to use as a prop, except it didn't have a hard drive, so I just faked it. But now it does.
Good enough, yeah. You got it there. That's what matters.
I remember you tried to give me your like disc of Team Fortress 2 so I could play it, except that's not how like Steam games work whatsoever. You have to actually buy them.
Yeah, unfortunately. Oh yeah, that's right. I bought TF2 for the computer on disc.
Yes.
And it came in one of those like extra wide cases for some reason. Like it wasn't like a DVD case. It was big, like the thickness of a book. I don't know why.
And then you also gave me all your Sims 1 like CDs that I never returned because I'm that guy.
Do you still have them?
Have some of them.
Okay.
I mean, do you want these Sims 1 CDs back?
No. I mean, I'm sure I could go to 500 different websites right now and download all of them with all of the add-on packs and probably like 500 fan-made expansion packs that make the game much better. That's the beauty about loving old games. Like, I really, really love this much older game called Heroes of Might and Magic 3. And, like, in 2008, some members of the community did an HD mod pack for it, and it is the most glorious thing of all time. because the game's resolution was like 120p, and like you could not improve it just because that's how old it was. But now they have it, and I forget what they were able to scale it up to, but it looks mwah, and the sounds are better. People who do those kind of things, community overhauls of old games and like HD mod packs and things like that. That's the best thing ever. You're doing God's work.
Speaking of community-made HD remakes, there was also Black Mesa.
Yeah,
the fan-made remake of Half-Life 1. Because when Valve made the Source engine, they were like, look how easy it is to port like games from the Gold Source engine into the Source engine. Here's Half-Life Source. And it was just literally Half-Life in the Source engine. And people were like, well, this is a giant missed opportunity, isn't it? Like, you could remake Half-Life 1 in, like, Half-Life 2 graphics. So people just decided, hey, why don't we just do that? If Valve isn't going to make it, why don't we make it? Shouldn't be that hard. This was in 2004, and it was released this month. In March of 2020.
I mean, hey, I'm so fucking happy for those guys that it finally came out. Like,
and it's actually a really good game. It's AAA quality. That's why it took let me do the math real fast. 16 years.
It's 16, yeah, not 14.
16 years. It took 16 years to make because these are just guys making it in their spare time.
I just love, yeah. Half-Life fan remake Black Mesa finally releases. 10 out of 10 on Steam, 84% from PC Gamer, 4.8 stars on Google rating.
Because at the end of Half-Life 1, there was this section called Zen, which was like the alien world. And it sucked for a lot of people. In Black Mesa, they just completely overhauled it. And it is amazing.
Yeah, I still have yet to play it just because my computer that I have absolutely could not run it right now. But whenever I get this desktop, Brad has been working on getting me a desktop because he's the best friend. So I will be able to play it and some other things that I can't play right now because right now I can play Minecraft and pretty much nothing else.
So when I finished Black Mesa, I was like, now when's Black Mesa 2? Because it was like really good.
Yeah, but I'm like, did you beat it like the day it came out?
I played like the beta when Zen was finished.
Ah, okay.
So I was like, I could wait, but it's not going to be that substantially different. There's just going to be less slowdowns.
Yeah, true. And now, Alyx. Man, they're really running out of time to delay it again. Because
that is true.
This game has not been delayed.
Well, that was the idea. They were like, let's just finish it and then announce the release date, which is like probably what you should do to begin with.
Yeah. Is it known how long the development cycle on this was?
Yes, actually. Let me look it up real fast.
Because I'm very curious, just because I know Valve is very forward-thinking, so I'm sure they were planning to have the next big Half-Life game be the first, like, huge AAA fully immersive VR title.
It entered production in 2016.
It's a lot shorter than I thought it would be. I wonder the length of it, because it looks like it's going to be, like, a full AAA game, but in VR, which there are not many of. There's none that were like made for VR. Like there's things like Skyrim, which you can experience in VR, but obviously existed beforehand. Alyx is such a special case.
Well, this might be the like Super Mario 64 VR games. You know,
it very well could be. It has a lot of pressure riding on its shoulders to be like the first real VR experience game, like the one that's gonna sell VR sets to the masses and be like, this is what VR can be, and completely revolutionize it.
We might just look back at this game and say like, this is the one that brought VR to the mainstream. This is the revolutionary game.
Yeah, it's been a long time since a game, like, obviously there's masterpieces that come out, but not everything that's a masterpiece is revolutionary. So I don't know, the last game to really, like, break new ground for this type of stuff. But it's very exciting to be alive and right now that I'm at the peak of my gamerness to be at that at a time when Half-Life Alyx is coming out. And I'm happy that it's Half-Life. If it does turn out to be the first big, AAA game, it could be fucking terrible. I don't know.
But I mean, it might be, but I doubt
I'm
that.
Assuming not. Yeah, I doubt that. The people who made the Dota 2 card game are now in charge of Valve.
Exactly. So, do you have any theories, any game theories about Half-Life Alyx?
I really don't, just because it's been so long since I've played through the Half-Life series, and I really want to go back and play it, but I didn't do that before Alyx because I was like, well, I know I'm not going to get to play it, so it'd make me sad. I just think this will probably give a lot more insight into why Alyx was treated the way she was in opposition to Gordon, and have a lot more focus on her and her family and why things happened to them, and hopefully some follow-up and closure maybe, or maybe at least a tease at closure.
Because the thing with, the G-Man, from what I can tell, the plan going forward was to, let Gordon go and have the G-Man, look over Alyx now.
Yeah. Which, I mean, the trailer makes it seem that way, considering, the whole game's gonna be about Alyx, and G-Man was in the trailer.
And that's interesting, because at the end of Half-Life 2, the G-Man just lets Alyx get blown up.
Yeah?
He does not rescue her whatsoever.
But maybe he had a plan all along that we can't understand as mere mortals.
Maybe the plan was to have the Vortigaunts, intervene.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he could also be I don't know, he just acts when he wants to. Not necessarily in a certain pattern.
Because, again, we don't know what the G-Man is thinking. We don't know anything about him, really.
Yeah, it's very interesting that he's an integral character to this whole series that has existed for more than 2 decades, and we know nothing about him.
We know that he exists, and
wears a blue suit.
He can, manipulate time and space.
Yes.
And that's it. We know literally nothing else about him.
Yeah, I imagine he's supposed to be a god-type figure or something who just maybe something H.P. Lovecraftian where his true form isn't fucking imaginable by the human brain, so he puts his form as a human man to us, but obviously they're never gonna fully explain who or what he is. That would ruin the mystique around him.
So I think now I'll explain my G-Man theory.
Very good.
Half-Life, the series, is about teleportation. That's what the series theme is. So in Half-Life 1, the research facility is studying teleportation. Portal is also about teleportation. Teleportation comes up so often. It's integral to the series as a whole. G-Man basically influences the Black Mesa staff to cause this disaster, which causes an alien invasion, and as a result, Black Mesa gets nuked, and G-Man is he activates the nuke. In Half-Life 2, the Combine are trying to develop their teleportation technology, but every single place that is developing teleportation gets blown up. The Citadel gets blown up.
Yeah.
Their facility called Nova Prospect, which has a teleporter, gets blown up. Black Mesa East has a teleporter, and that gets destroyed. And the only place that has a teleporter left is Dr. Kleiner's lab, which eventually gets blown up too in episode 1 because the whole city gets blown up.
There's a lot of getting blown up in Half-Life when you really boil it down. When you really boil down all of Half-Life, it's get Gordon from point A to point B before it explodes.
The Borealis has some mysterious technology that I think the G-Man wants destroyed, because he says he influences Alyx to tell her father to prepare for unforeseen consequences, which is what G-Man told her father in Half-Life 1.
Well, I'm assuming Borealis is probably supposed to be like the Manhattan Project, because the Manhattan Project was all about, teleporting a giant boat and nuclear power and teleportation, so...
Wasn't that just to make a nuke?
I think that's more of like rumored that it was about, they were trying to teleport, but obviously you can't prove that sort of thing. Yeah, it did lead to the production of the first, nuclear weapon. Yep.
And I know that because of Doc Brown's backstory that the, screenwriters gave him, where he, worked on the Manhattan Project.
The Philadelphia experiment is what I was thinking. Yeah, an alleged military experiment, claimed to have happened in October of 1943. The U.S. Navy escort USS Eldridge was claimed to have been rendered invisible or cloaked to enemy devices. It's widely understood to be a hoax, but...
that just means it's true.
Yeah, that just means that, that's what they want you to believe.
What I think the G-Man is, he's like the teleportation police. Whenever there's a species getting close to developing teleportation, he comes in and just blows everything up.
That's a very solid theory, because think about how many different things in media have time police specifically, and yeah, that would make a lot of sense to have teleportation police, because yeah, that's a sort of technology that people shouldn't be fucking around with, because most of the time with time, there's some sort of gods or other force that intervenes that are hey, you can't just mess around with time, because it's a privilege that is taboo to use actually travel through time. So same with teleportation, where it's a very taboo thing, and if a great amount of people get access to it, then that's extremely dangerous for the whole universe.
Because the thing with the Combine is they can teleport from universe to universe, but they can't teleport inside a universe. So that's why they're trying to develop teleportation technology, local teleportation technology. And in Half-Life 2, the G-Man puts Gordon on the very specific day that the Rebels teleportation technology is ready.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, like you said, everything, not only in Half-Life, but the whole Half-Life universe extending into Portal is about teleportation, so.
And Portal, Aperture Science just fucks everything up themselves. The G-Man, I don't think, is a part of that.
No, it's neat that Aperture Science fits into the universe, and it's very appropriate that it does, but yeah, it's good that they stay completely separate. Maybe a couple nods here and there, some little Easter eggs, but yeah, it's I don't think he would have anything to do with that, because the portal gun is a lot different than teleportation technology per se, because of this very specific restrictions that it has, and it's one person using it in a testing facility, so I think he doesn't care about that.
I think there's it's canon that there's an alternate universe where Cave Johnson, Aperture CEO, buys Black Mesa, and he's you guys are crazy what you're doing. You're going to end the world. So he just shuts them down and just, saves, Earth.
Ah, that's interesting.
And I think that's canon, but I'm not sure.
Dude, I don't know what canon is. I come from I'm a Dragon Ball fan, so that's the absolute worst thing ever to argue canon in, so I just stopped forever ago. With everything.
I was nodding, but I don't think that came across.
Yeah, but that doesn't translate through the only audio, yeah. And whenever we have face cam in X amount of podcasts. Eventually we could add it if people wanted to, but I think that comes with the territory of having a brand so strong or a personality so strong that people want your face to identify you by. So that would require both of us being a lot more popular, so. And I don't want that to happen right now because I record these podcasts with my shirt off because my room's very warm and I'd have to put a shirt on.
I mean, that could attract viewers, you don't know.
God, I hope not.
I mean, a viewer is a viewer, right?
I mean, yeah, I just mean like for them, like that's a sad life to live. To come to me, but anywho, Half Life
Yes.
is going to be extremely. It's the first like few days after Alex comes out is going to be just complete fucking mayhem across the gaming sphere because everybody's going to be like working to find everything in the game, all the secrets, complete it 100%, find like if there's any tiny details they miss, theories, trying to link it to everything else. It's going to be so much fun. Everybody's going to explode into awesome theories about it. It's great. I'm excited.
Is there any like? Is there a summary of like? No, there wouldn't be like of the story. I don't think there is.
No.
Like the synopsis is what I'm thinking of.
I was gonna say I searched Half-Life Slicks.
So I guess I could quickly think of a theory of what I think Half-Life Alyx is about. So it has Alyx. We've established that. She's going through City 17. And we know Alyx exists in Half-Life 2, so she can't die. And that also means
Yeah.
she can't really accomplish anything, can she?
Yeah, it may even though this might be the first venture into like a big AAA game for VR, I think this one might still be pretty well contained, whereas it's not going to have huge repercussions in the story, and they might play it a little safe just for that purpose of not wanting to maybe ruin it or push it too hard.
So maybe the story is about like getting the teleportation technology ready. Like maybe Alyx has to go on an adventure to get the Flangledy dupe
Yeah,
for
for
the
yeah,
teleporter.
get the MacGuffin, do whatever prep work. Yeah, that could be fun. I think they probably just at like whenever they decided to make a Half-Life VR game, they probably decided that it should just be for Alex first, regardless of the placement in the timeline, just because she is so important as a secondary character in Half-Life, but she got done kind of dirty, and she's the most prominent female character, and she, talks.
Oh, speaking of that, speaking of like voice acting, like her voice actress got recast in this game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, for like literally no reason.
I'm gonna see who her new voice actress is.
Because some people are like, well, Alyx is younger in this game. Maybe they needed a younger voice actress, except the voice actress that they got is like the same age, the old one.
Ozoima Akaga.
The old voice
It,
actress is Merle Dandridge.
I was gonna say I've heard of her before. She is extremely underground. She has two other credits in her life before. Uh, Teen Titans Go, where she plays Bumblebee, and then Mirror's Edge Catalyst, she plays a secondary character, and about 4 people purchased that game. So,
maybe there's like some story reason, but I guess that remains to be seen.
um, I don't know. It also might have just been contractual stuff.
Well, I think
as well.
no, because the Merle Dandridge was like, I don't know why Valve replaced me. So there wasn't like
that is just because a lot of times there is especially with voice acting, there's complications with characters becoming legacy characters, as they call them, where other people have to voice them, or actors shifting in and out of the union, different IPs shifting in and out of using union actors and actresses, and that creates a whole lot of confusion. But yeah, that's kind of rare for someone to just be like, oh, I guess I'm not voicing that character anymore, they never told me, and that's weird. Yeah, I have no idea why they would go with a new voice actress.
Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, it's odd to just like give her a clean start, kind of, when you're not, refreshing the entire cast.
Because they got like, I think the other voice actors that were in the ones that aren't dead at least. But
yeah,
Alex's voice actor in Half-Life Alyx. Let's just replace her for no
It's
reason.
no, it looks like Eli is different.
Yeah, because Eli's voice actor died.
Oh, that's true. That's right. Yeah, his voice actor is dead.
And if Breen shows up, his voice actor died in 2010.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, hey, Ellen McLean, voice of GLaDOS, is in as. Oh, the Vortigaunts are voiced by somebody different.
Well, Ellen McLean is in every Valve game.
It's just she's known as.
Every
GLaDOS.
Source Engine Valve game, I think.
It's probably because she's a fantastic voice actress.
She's at least in all the Orange Box games.
Oh wait, no, okay, this is, I guess just because it's a title that hasn't come out yet and nothing's been confirmed about it, because Valve is like that, behind the voice actors is having a very hard time finding official, or who officially is the voice actors. Oh, yeah, I forgot Barney and G-Man are both Mike Shapiro.
Do you think he's related to...
No. No, I knew... Oh, he also voices the Nihilith. Oh, that's the fucking... Okay, so do you want me to talk about the stupid fucking game theory?
Yes. Most definitely.
So literally his entire theory is just that the G-Man is the Nihilith from Half-Life 1. Which is just wrong. But I remember that because this jogged my memory, because literally one of his reasons why is that because Mike Shapiro voices both of them.
Well, I guess Barney is the G-Man then. It's confirmed.
I don't think he mentions that in the video. That's tremendous that he sucks so much. Love you, Matt Pat, but gosh, do I hate you. No, that's mean. I hate your content. I hate what your content.
I only hate what you make. I don't hate you specifically.
I understand that it's not all his fault, and a lot of it has come because of the awful changes of YouTube and what people have to make. But however, there's great content creators who have stayed great because of those changes. Or despite those changes, I should say.
I like making fun of him. Is that also mean to say?
No, making fun of somebody is always good, because then you can genuinely like them as well. I do like that Valve, most of their voice actors are extremely underground, or just people who worked at the company or somewhere else for it. I like when that happens.
I like the Scout's voice actor because he's an actual fan of TF2. And
he loves TF2.
I think he plays it sometimes, and he just role plays a Scout on voice chat.
Oh, that's so good. The Vortigaunts have a weird history. They switched after episode 1. Did Louis Gossett Jr. die? Is that possibly why? No, he didn't. Yeah, for some reason, after episode 1, they switched the Vortigaunts voice to Tony Todd, who was the voice in episode 2, and he's reprising that for Alex.
I mean, that was probably just I guess in that case, probably some sort of contractual issue or unavailability.
Yeah, it must have been.
Or maybe the guy was like, I don't feel like doing this anymore. I'm gonna live out my dream of being a cook. Because he saw the movie Ratatouille and he's like, finally, someone understands me. That's what I'm going to do. I, too, want a rat to tell me how to cook food because I suck. That's my game theory, at least, because he voices the Vortigaunt, and in Half-Life 2, there's a small scene in Black Mesa East where you see the Vortigaunt cooking some food. So that's my justification.
I love when games have goofy little shit like that.
So yeah, that's gonna wrap up this episode. I'm gonna play some Half-Life Alyx canonically when this episode comes out in a couple hours.
Yeah, actually, and I'm gonna be sitting on my ass at home, probably high, watching somebody on Twitch play Minecraft. So I mean, I got that going for me.
That's just the pinnacle of life, frankly.
That's the millennial dream right there. That and to eat food every once in a while. But
Food cooked by that Vortigaunt voice actor. What I don't even remember
Yes.
his name.
In real life, I have him hired as my personal chef. Tony Todd. All right, everybody. What a fun old time. I hope you enjoyed Brad carrying the conversation this time because my knowledge is lacking. Oh, fuck you. Goodbye.